Andy Wilson, Managing Director at Momentum Venture Management. Previous to Momentum, I was at Yahoo in a company called Overture Services that Yahoo acquired for a couple $1 billion about 5 or 6 years ago. And it was one of those things where it's a great opportunity when you have a little success to kind of say, what do you want to do? And my business partner, Matt, we'd known each other for college, and he'd been in the pure venture capital world, and I'd been in the operating world. And the question is, what are you most passionate about? And I think that's a real important question for entrepreneurs to ask themselves. And Matt and I kind of collaborated, and we said, hey, it'd be fun to work together, but we love building companies. And really the genesis of Momentum is, how do you help build great companies? And a little bit different from, let's say, a classic VC where they're purely putting money in companies. We wanted to get our hands dirty. And a great model for some of your entrepreneurs may be familiar with Idea Lab, that's also here in Pasadena, and they're what's called an incubator, where they kind of ideate and come up with these ideas, and they kind of build them within the confines of their building. And we said, we're not the idea guys. We want to find entrepreneurs who have good ideas, who have built some technology. We want to be the partners with them to help transform those good ideas into great businesses. We are very much in the tech arena, and I describe tech as things that are software and internet-based. We do have a couple businesses that have a hardware element to them. I would say nothing that requires rocket science knowledge about microchemistry. Hey, we're just business guys. So things you can understand. That have a strong technology aspect. We do stay out of life sciences. That's an area that, it's a different domain knowledge, and we don't feel like we're well tooled up for that. We tend to have a slight bias for business-to-business technologies. We get, certainly probably a half dozen plans a week. Many of them are not relevant in terms of they're out of geography or they're in the life sciences area. I would say probably 2 or 3 of those are worth looking at. And you're going through these and you're kind of trying to clear out your desk. How do you go about and figure out which ones you're going to spend your time on? And having, let's say, your lawyer or your accountant or somebody who's an entrepreneur in our portfolio company say, oh, I've looked at this business plan. These guys seem credible, right? I want to spend your time here. How do you get their attention? They can help us focus our energies on the interesting opportunities. So introductions is much better than a cold call. But I'll tell you, we probably, 25% of the stuff we look at just comes in over the web. Tech companies that fit in our sweet spot. We're very hands-on, so they got to be in Southern California. We see cool companies out of San Francisco, Seattle. I'm like, gosh, we are part of the operating infrastructure. And so being able to be close to them so we can be actively involved and part of the management team is critical. So geography is a real constraint for us. And I'd say, obviously something that, we get excited about too. It's like, that's a great business, but for some reason the partners don't get excited. And since we have to commit not just dollars, but our time to it, there's kind of that secret sauce piece of, does it resonate with one of the partners for us to say, hey, we want to spend a year of my time being involved in that company. A cover email that kind of describes who you are, what you're doing, why I should spend my time on it, and the fact that you're actually doing something. So if let's just say you have an answer to a big problem and you make some bold claim of, I'm going to solve the energy problem in America. I'm like, well, either that could be interesting or the person's a crackpot. So the next question is, how do you give that statement credibility? Oh, I've built a prototype of a solar cell, it's in manufacturing, and we have 5 units in pilot installation in Southern California. Now, big claim, something that backs it up, and I'm looking for X. I'm looking for help. In our case, I'm looking for help to go to the next level and access to capital. I'm like, interesting problem it's solving. They're actually committed, they're doing something, and they fit with us. I'm taking that meeting, right? I'm like, hey, that fits. Don't send the 50-page business plan. Send the teaser email, attach a 1 or 2-page executive summary that leaves the reader compelled. And once again, your goal in this process is to get people's attention to take the next step. I mean, I'm not going to wire you money because I read your business plan. I'm going to ask you to come down and meet with my team. And then if that goes well, then we'll start doing some diligence. And if that goes well, we'll figure out a deal. The flaw we found and we find in some entrepreneurs, is they so much drink their own Kool-Aid, they can't connect with the real world, right? And the real world is taking a great idea, understanding the constraints of building a business, accessing the right people to help you, saying, hey, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that, understanding your flaws, and realizing that you're not God's gift in every front. So it's a balancing act, because if you don't think don't have the confidence level, you're never going to start. But if you're never going to succeed unless you acknowledge where your shortfalls and your shortcomings are. So I think that's a balancing act that entrepreneurs struggle with sometimes. We're very entrepreneur-centric. Our goal is to help the entrepreneur succeed. In many ways, it helps entrepreneurs succeed who otherwise wouldn't succeed. Right? If I'm, Larry or Sergey from Google and I want to go start a new venture, I'm an entrepreneur. Clearly, he doesn't need our help. He's going to succeed without us. It's a bunch of people who are very talented, who haven't gone through the entrepreneurial cycle before, who need the help and the guidance and the credibility. And I think we can help, kind of promising entrepreneurs, especially first-time entrepreneurs, succeed. So our business model is that. I think more broadly, we are very active in the entrepreneurial community. As I say, we hold our entrepreneurial events. We do a ton of speaking. Matt was just on a panel that I hosted at the Caltech MIT Enterprise Forum on building a successful early stage venture in challenging times. So we had 300 people at Caltech where I hosted the panel. Matt does a lot of speaking at TCVN. Stu does a lot at Octane. So we're kind of always in the community. We want people, when they think about entrepreneurship, especially in the technology space, to think momentum.